Hello everyone and welcome to Farmer Joe Homesteading. My name is Mason and today we're going to go on another fun farm update, what's been going on around here in the last couple of weeks. And we are also going to be deworming our flocks and we will also be deworming our rabbits in anticipation for breeding season. Stick around and join us for another fun-filled farm update. We're gonna start over here in the goat shack like we normally do. Hi, hello. Over here, these girls are starting to do really well and get really big. So our goats are now, the majority of them are reaching their third trimester. So they have lots and lots of hay. And these young girls are just finishing up their first trimesters. The last day of the holidays, my husband and I built them this awesome hay feeder. So we have on the outside, it is a feed bunk. And then we put some wires up and we have put in the boards to hold them up so they can eat. The wire is so that they don't make a huge mess because otherwise they pull out a lot of hay at once and it makes a disaster. So this is how we are currently feeding the clan. We have a few does in here with some massive baby bellies already, especially our triplet sisters. They are getting really big. Big Mama is just 5 weeks away from kidding now, or just a little over 5 weeks. So she's due on February 12th. We could not be more excited to have babies from Big Mama again. So we're starting to anticipate that. For the goats, even though it's not breeding season anymore for them, there's still lots of things we can be doing in preparation for kidding season. With the third trimester, the babies are going to be growing really big. So we want to make sure that our girls still have good quality hay. So they're getting lots of hay, free choice throughout the day. And then we are also making sure that their minerals are stocked up. We want to make sure that the girls aren't depleting any of their body's natural resources while their babies are in this big bulk up developmental stage, growing bone density and muscles and things like that. All right, breeding season is just around the corner and we could not be more excited. Our very first hatching eggs leave the farm today. We are still doing our rainbow mix like we normally do before we officially start breeding season, which will be March 1st. So in anticipation and preparation for that, we are going to deworm the flock today. And then after the deworming is done, we are going to be starting their vitamins and probiotics to make sure everyone is in tip-top shape for the breeding season. Now, here is our disclaimer. I am not a veterinarian. I am just a farmer. These are all off-label uses of ivermectin to use for flocks and rabbits. They are tried and true methods that I have used on my homestead, but please make sure that you do your research yourself before you make the decision to use these products on your farm. We are still on the hunt for a veterinarian because they are extremely hard to come by in our area and we have a massive shortage. So because we don't have access to a veterinarian, I do all of my animal care and animal husbandry myself and I don't have anywhere to go to. So we are using ivermectin to deworm our flocks and our rabbits, and that's what we have right now as resources. Now there are other over-the-counter things that you can use, and I will start looking into that for next year because you're supposed to only use something for about 2 years before you switch. So I also like to gauge. I don't like to overdo it. So the reason I'm making the decision to deworm right now is, one, yes, they need it before we get into breeding season, but I'm also noticing some bloody poops and bloody stool, which can also be a sign of worms in your flock. So I'm being proactive and diligent. There are signs of worm in the flock, so now is a good time to go ahead and use. Breeding season is right around the corner, and it is time to do some flock maintenance. Today, we are going to be deworming our flocks to get them ready for the breeding season ahead. I like to use just ivermectin. It's the easiest thing to get. You don't need to have a vet to get it. And it's about 3 to 4 cc's per gallon in their water. I have a few different waterers, which makes it a bit interesting. So my bucket here is a 5-gallon bucket, and I usually fill it about 3 gallons full for one of my coops. So I'm going to be putting enough for that. So I already put 8 cc's in. I'm gonna add another 4 cc's for a total of 12 cc's of ivermectin for my 3 gallons of water for that coop. I like to add it to the bottom of my bucket because then when I add the water, it will mix in and distribute better. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it to about here. So I just did another 12, and I'm going to bring it over to my other waterer across the barnyard. Kids just brought me a beautiful cuckoo egg. So with the deworming with the ivermectin in the water, you want this to be their only source of water, which is why I have to do it in all my sources of water. So I have 2 waterers over on that side, and then I have my 1 water over here on this side. So I make sure that all 3 waters have that in them. And I do this for a couple of days. So I'll probably do this for 2 more days for a total of 3 days with the ivermectin in their water. And that's it. It's that easy. So the only other thing that I'm going to do today is I also want to check for mites in the flock, just to make sure that we're all in the clear for that too. So checking for mites is actually not that complicated. And I find with a flock of my size, it's easier to check the roosters because the roosters cover a lot of ground in a day. So they are interacting with the most birds in a day, and if they are mating with hens, they are more likely to get mites. So if you have mites in your flock, your rooster is most likely going to have mites because he's going to be transferring it from bird to bird. So this is Pizza here. He's one of our oldest black copper Moran's roosters. He's also the tamest, so I'm going to start with him, and we're just going to give him a quick check over. So I usually check in their neck. You just want to part the feathers till you can see skin, and just watch the skin, watch the base of the feathers, see if there's just any movement in those feathers and on the skin. He is all good. He's got really dry skin. He looks like he's coming out of a bit of a molt. So you also want to check their vent because that's where they are touching when they are mating. So you want to find the vent at the base of the tail and just have a look at the feathers around their bottom and just see if you see any movement. You can check kind of in like their little fluffy feathers here and just see if you see anything. Nope, he is all good. I just see clear skin. You can see skin there. And that is it. So Mr. Pizza, you are all in the clear. Now Mr. Pizza isn't breeding a lot of hens, so we're gonna check a rooster that does. Okay, this is Goliath. He is also almost a 4-year-old. He is one of our golden Craylet leg bar cockerels, well, roosters. He is a mature boy, and he definitely is still mating a lot of hens. So we will have a look and see what we see with him and give him kind of a once over. I know, how rude. How rude of me to just snag you. You look good there, my boy. Let's check your bum. There it is. You are all fluff. You don't have a poopy bum, so that's a good thing too. You have so much fluff. I just see fluff. Oh, there we go. There's a clear spot. You can see nothing, just skin. So that's a really good indicator, and that makes me feel confident that my pullets and my hens are also going to be clear, since our big breeding boys are also clear of mites. All right, now we are moving on over to the rabbits. Now, rabbit breeding season is also getting really, really close, and I've been on the fence about perhaps breeding Livy and one other doe here in the next little while, just because it has been such a warm winter. We are supposed to get a cold snap in a couple weeks, and they are calling for some really cold nighttime temperatures, but then they're saying it's going to warm up again after that, so we're just kind of playing it by ear for now. But I want to be prepared, and I want to have the girls all dewormed because I didn't do this last year with them. So I am using this. This is ivermectin poron for cattle. Now, like I said in my disclaimer, none of this is all off-label use for these animals, but it works really, really well, and I've never had an issue with it. So this is just ivermectin poron, and for my mature girls and boys, I just give them 1 cc, and for the younger ones, they only get a half a cc. So this is what I'm using today for deworming all the rabbits. I am doing this during feeding time because the plan is to be able to feed them and give them all their dose while they're distracted eating, so that I don't have to catch anybody. Be careful. Well done. Good job. Hey, I got your water. Yeah, I did. Can I get some water? Done. I realized feeding and water Houdini today that his pen needs clean, so we may as well do that. Houdini is a big boy. So big, in fact, that his poops don't seem to fit through the wires of our hutch. So every couple weeks I have to come scrape all of Houdini's little poops out of his hutch because they don't fall through his wire. All right, that's much better. Now all that is poop stuck halfway between here and there. Yeehaw. All right, finally got the last rabbit. So they are now all done and ready for breeding season. Our only other concern with starting to breed early is daylight, especially with how Livy was reacting today, not wanting to come out and grunting at me. That's a pretty good indicator that she's not ready for breeding season yet. And with our days still being quite short, I do remember that being a problem last year as well. So we are probably going to have to hold off and let nature naturally take its course, and we will breed her when the daylight hours are right and she is ready. All of our flocks are doing really good. We have lots and lots of birds still here on the homestead, and we are just a few weeks away from separating into our breeding pens. They are calling for a pretty cold spell coming up here soon, so we need to start thinking about either moving them now before the cold snap or leaving them as is for the cold snap. We don't like to stress them out, so sometimes it's better to move everyone before you know it's going to get cold so that it's not so much stress on the flock later on, but it's always kind of touch and go on that. So for now, I'm going to leave them as is, and then I need to do some thinking and decision making and have a look at the calendar and see when exactly they're predicting this nasty cold snap, because obviously today is a gorgeous day, but they are calling in the 2-week forecast for some -27 night temperatures, which is really cold. So we need to do some planning ahead still, but for now, we are one step closer to getting ready for breeding season. So now that we've got our deworming done, we're going to start those vitamins, start the probiotics, and just keep an eye on everybody, make sure everybody's doing well. We are still getting a lot of eggs from our pullets, which is super exciting. And on January 1st, we turned on the lights in the coop. So we have a light on in this coop, and we also have a light in our other coop that now are on, so that we can bring all of our hens into lay. It can take a couple weeks, so it's best to do it now so that by the time March 1st comes around, we have nice, good size eggs for hatching. The only other thing to update on with the herd is we did finally get some sheep butchered. So we have a few less sheep around here. We still kept the 2 little guys that need just a little bit more time to grow, and once they've bulked up a little bit, we'll go ahead and we'll butcher them as well. So we are down to only 2 sheep left. That is it. We are all doing really well here on the homestead. We are really looking forward to another season raising and selling our eggs and chicks. Last year was so much fun. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us having your support here on the homestead. We'll hope to see you guys next time. Hello. What are you doing?
Looking for eggs up here.
Looking for eggs up there?
Yes.
And is there any?
No. I need help getting down.